This style of sand eel imitation was originally created by Bob Popovich in the northeastern USA. The purpose was to create a durable fly and a fly with the correct profile of a sand eel. And Popovich's use of epoxy gave both. Today we're using resin instead of epoxy, but the result is the same. So let me show you how I tie this fly. I'm using the Bob Clouser hook in the Salt series. And I'm tying this one on a size 6, which matches the typical sand eel size we have here in Denmark, but the hook of course comes in a lot of different sizes. Normal white tying thread, which I attach at the eye, and then I use a piece of pearl Mylar, which is going to be the underbody. And I tie that in here as well, so I wind it backwards and then back on itself, which gives me a double layer. Tie that off. I'm going to tie this one in white and Chartreuse for a little bit of color, and then the olive back. And I'm using Craftfur. The first bunch I'm going to tie on the underside of the hook. I clean out the short stuff. This is excellent dubbing, so don't throw it away. And then I just take the longest fibers and the longest fibers again to create a nice little bunch. I turn the hook around and I just push the hook through like that. And tie it in. Before I cut off, I just push it a little bit so it covers the bottom half of the hook. Cut that off. Try and avoid any stubble, because that's going to give us a lot of grief later when I make the epoxy head. A bunch of white again. Popovich originally used a material called Ultra Hair, which is very stiff. I like to use this Craftfur, but a lot of other fibers work just as well. I just like it, of course, because it's soft. I tie this in the full length of the fly, just about there. And once again, just tie it in here at the top. Take a look, looks good. And cut this off, push your scissors into the tying point, and whenever you get these small leftovers, make sure to remove them. Time for some flash, if you want it. I'm going to cut off 2 strands, which I'm going to double. So first I just lift it up under the tying thread, check the length. That's good. Give it a few turns, come down right behind the eye and double it back. and then cut it off. I like to cut it off in 2 different lengths. Since I'm tying this on a Clouser hook, Clouser was good friends with the Lefty Cray, and Lefty Cray used to say that if it ain't Chartreuse, it ain't no use. So I'm of course going to put in a little bit of Chartreuse Craftfur as well. Once again, keep this short stuff. Excellent dubbing for a lot of different uses. Tie this in, same length as the white. Come around and tie it in on top of the white. This one slid towards me a little bit, so I'm just going to push that into place. See that it sits somewhat symmetrically. Looks good. Cut it off again. A little bit of fiber sticking out there. I'm going to add one more strand of flash. Once again, I just lift it up under the tying thread, couple of turns, and then I take it down right behind the hook eye, where I turn it around and come back over itself. That way it will never come off. And finally, just a small bunch of olive, more for the color than for the volume of the fly. Again, more dubbing. Take out just the very longest fibers and stack them back. This one I'm going to tie a little bit shorter than the longest fibers. Once again, tying in on top of the other 2 bunches. Make sure that it sits the way I want it to. A little bit further towards your side. That's it, it's good. Now take a good look for any strands pointing forwards, and this one looks good. For the sides, I'm going to use these Sandeel foils. One of the things that Bob Popovich noted when he studied the Sandeels was that they have a very almost fluorescent, very silvery belly, which you sort of get for free in these Sandeel foils, and of course you get the eye as well. So it's a bit of a 2-for-1. Observe that there is a left and a right, so just remember that when you use them. They have this long point, which I'm just going to use as a tie-in point. I just fold it back to check. Don't fold it all the way back because they're also on a sticky back foil, which makes them easier to control when I apply the resin in just a little bit. Just hold it down with a nail. And they can be a little bit tricky. I just fold them almost all the way back to check if they're the same length, and I can see that this one is ever so slightly longer than the one on my side. So I'll just retie that. Check, that looks good. They don't have to sit absolutely perfectly. You can adjust them later before we put on the resin. That's really the tying done. All that's left now is the gluing. So I fold these back. Just look at the fly from the side, and with a little bit of pressure, I make sure that they sit how I want them to sit. That looks good. When you're working with resin or even epoxy, if you use that, one good trick is to, as far as you can, only work from the front of the fly and back. If you start moving back to front, you start pulling the fibers forwards, and that is only going to cause you grief. So a blob of resin there, and then I just use the bottle. To need a little more for the first part here. And as you can see, as much as possible, I'm trying to work front to back, making sure to lift the bottle off before I go back. And as you can see, the resin sinks into the fibers, which is good. Just take a look, see if it's somewhat symmetrical. That looks all right. As I set the resin, I pull on the fibers a little bit so the profile doesn't become too high, because I want that slim shape of a sand eel. Once again, a dollop of resin, and then I use the bottle again to stroke it back. Again, what I'm really doing with this first layer of resin is just setting the shape of the fly, and then later I'll apply the finish layer, so to speak. You can see I've got a little bit of belly hanging down there, so I pull that up to get that slim profile of the sand eel, and just a few seconds with UV light, that resin is set. And now it's really just time for the few finishing touches with the resin layer, just to create that shiny head. And now it's much easier because you don't have to worry as much about pulling fibers back and forth, because they're already set in the first layer of resin. And depending on the viscosity of your UV resin, you'll have more time or less time before it starts running. And of course you want to still maintain that slim profile. That looks good. As you can see, this Chartreuse Craftfur is really fluorescent, if you think that's important. That's the top and bottom done. Now I'm just going to coat the sides, the sandeel foils, just a very thin layer, just to give it some strength. Remember to keep the bottle out of the way when you set the resin, which really only takes a few seconds for a thin layer like this. Just a thin layer, just make sure I've got it all covered. That looks good. Now one last detail is to get a little bit of resin onto the fibers and touching the foil, just to add that much more durability, so you don't have that edge of the foil which the fish can grab and ultimately pull off. That's one side done. Just tighten that up a bit. And really, when tying these flies, a true rotary vise or a vise like this one, where you actually can position the hook so that when you turn it, it remains horizontal, is an advantage. And that's it. fly's done. Very effective, very durable fishing fly. Thanks for watching.